Good morning and welcome to a Homespun house. My name is Molly and I am the creative mind, maker, thinker behind a Homespun house. I have quite a bit to talk with you guys about today. All I want to do is be knitting or dyeing yarn, or spending time with my family, of course. But I have had so much knitting on my brain. I feel like I can't get enough of it. I have finished two very sweet little items this past week, and I'm excited to share those with you guys. So these are knit out of Must Stash yarns, self-striping yarns, and I cannot remember the name of this colorway, unfortunately. The ball band was accidentally thrown away sometime last week, and I mentioned it last episode what the name of this yarn was. So if you want, you can go ahead and check with that past episode. I do not do show notes just for time's sake. If you have questions, you can go ahead and write me, ask me in the comments, and I will go ahead and send links or go a little bit more in depth, possibly, if there's something you have a question about. So all of this is Must Stash yarn, and then these little heels are just one of my littles that is quite similar to the Homespun House tonal colorway, which is called Bohemian. There is some of that in the shop in full-size skeins currently. So I knit a pair for Elodie. She and her papa are outside, well, not outside, but outside of this room, having a massive board game session right now. Ruby is taking a nap, and Elodie wanted to spend this time while I record playing board games. So they have tons of board games and card games laid out on the table for them to play while I record, which is nice. It's fun to hear them a little bit chatting and playing and hurraying and hurrahing. So yes, these ones are Elodie's, and for Elodie's I did 54 stitches. I'm pretty positive about that. And I would go up next time. I think the next time I knit her a pair of socks, I will either do 56 or 58. These fit very nice. She hasn't tried them on, but I have knit her another pair of socks, which I've shown you previously, in some Nicole C. Mendez yarn, and they could be the teeniest bit larger. So I think that I will try probably a 56 stitch sock in the next one, because those 2 stitches can make quite a big difference. And Elodie wears a size, I would say 32.5 foot European, and so these are hers. And then of course I knit Ruby her first pair of hand knit socks that are not teeny tiny baby hand knit socks. I was toying with the idea and just questioning if it was the best idea to knit Ruby a pair of socks, because she didn't really know how to handle them. I had some tube socks that I knit for Elodie when Elodie was, when Elodie was younger than she is now. It could have been the same age as Ruby. Ruby's 2.5. And Ruby has been wearing those lately, and Ruby adores them. She hasn't been slipping around in them. They're great when she's at Kita. Here in Germany, when you're at Kita, you wear house shoes. So they're not like slippers. Like, I'm American, so when I think of slippers, I do not think of what a slipper is here in Germany, or house shoe. It is a specific type of shoe. I should have brought one in here, but it's a specific type of shoe that children wear inside. You would never wear shoes inside of a house. I feel like it would be very shocking. And I noticed that quite a lot of Americans wear shoes inside. I could not handle that in my home. That would be very, very strange to me, regardless of where I lived. Anyway, that's a total side point. So they wear house shoes at Kita, and it's really nice for them to have just a pair of socks underneath of their house shoes for that extra warmth. Another a German side note, is you don't have this intense dry heating or this intense dry air conditioning in the summers or in the winters with the heat. So it's kind of nice to dress a bit warmer. Sure, there are lots of kids moving around and playing, but I do like in the winter the girls to have a pair of hand knit socks underneath of their boots or with their house shoes. So that being said, I decided to knit Ruby a pair of socks, and I did not put, some people talks about like stop sock where you can put just little pieces of rubber. It's kind of like a glue. There are ones that are specifically made for socks for the purpose of not slipping. But I think Ruby can handle it fine. I do not know why. I know lots of people put that on their socks. I don't know if I could bear the idea of putting that on a sock that I knit. I know for those of you who do it, that probably sounds silly. I just can't bear that. And I think it will be fine. I think all of our floors are wooden. We do have kind of a large rug in the living room, but we have wooden floors everywhere else. We don't really have rugs placed anywhere in the flat, other than in my studio by where I dye yarn. So that is a very long way to say that I knit Ruby her first pair of socks, and I hope that she loves them. I know she will, because she is very, very proud of everything I make her, and that is a very fantastic feeling. It makes me want to make her all of the things. So that's very, very special. So these two are finished, and they will be getting these socks Sunday the 3rd for the first Advent. Feels good to make my little girls something warm and cozy to snuggle up in for Advent. So every other evening, I have been working on sewing up these jumpsuits for Elodie and Ruby. The reason I'm talking about this now, there won't be a lot of sewing talk. For those of you who aren't interested in sewing, don't worry. I just want to talk about this now because it has to do with the first Advent and their little jammies that they will be getting along with their socks that I just made. So I received the zippers in the mail that I'll be using. I think they're really sweet, delicate, light, and pretty. And every other Sunday I put the pattern together, or not Sunday, every other evening. I finally pieced the 48-page pattern together, and then I traced it with Swedish tracing paper because both of the girls wear separate sizes. So both of the jumpsuits together, well, because they're pajama jumpsuits, have a total of about 30 pieces. That is quite overwhelming. For each leg, for the legs you have 4 pieces, so 8 with both of the girls together, and then you have so many more pieces. But anyway, I am going to start the sewing for this, which means I need to have all of the cutting out. So far, I just have the 8 leg pieces cut out. And I want to start the sewing this Thursday so that if anything goes wrong, if I need to cut out a new piece, I think I have 3, I could even have 4 yards of this fabric. So if anything goes wrong, then I have Friday to fix it, because I don't want to be working on it on the weekend when, we're all together doing stuff. I don't want to be in my studio sewing. I like to be out and about with the family on the weekend. So I'm giving myself Thursday to complete sewing that, and then Friday, like I said, to manage any extra bits, which hopefully don't happen. So I'm excited about that. I think they will absolutely love their jumpsuits. Because I finished working on those socks, I wanted to start the next thing that I planned on knitting for the girls. Last episode I mentioned that I have quite a bit of making plans for Elodie and Ruby leading up until Christmas. Each Sunday of Advent, I want to gift them something special and handmade that we've made. I have a lot more Advent plans, and you guys will be able to tune into all of that on my Vlogmas, which starts Friday the 1st. So that will be very soon. I haven't talked about it a lot, but I will definitely be doing Vlogmas. So in my Birch Fiber Arts bag, Birch Grove bag, excuse me, in my Birch Grove bag, don't know why I said Birch Fiber Arts because she doesn't dye yarn. I love this. This was a fantastic gift, and I'm so happy to have it. I've never had one of her bags before, and it lives up to everything that I thought it was, so I'm very happy with this. I decided that I wanted to knit the girls a pair of leg warmers. Ruby doesn't have a pair of leg warmers that has specifically been knit for her at this point. Elodie has 3 pairs that I've knit. One that is a glittery Stellina pink pair. And then she has a pair of the Patons Croix, the rag stripy yarn that was super popular, I think 1 to 2 years ago. It must have been 2 years ago. And then she has just a pair of cheap, I think it was an acrylic, really light ballerina pink. It's the first pair that I knit her probably 6 years ago. So yeah, Elodie loves the Patons Croix ones, and she wears them all the time. She puts them on, even if she's dressed incredibly warm, she still wants to wear them and mention over and over how I knit them. So I wanted to make each of them a really special pair of leg warmers. And I was talking to Elodie about leg warmers when she was wearing hers, and both of the girls like the pink pair a lot. But like I said, Ruby really loves the Patons Croix pair, but I wanted to make them a pair of matching leg warmers. With Elodie and Ruby, I realized that it's really nice at the ages that they are now to make them the same sorts of things. This would have been something I feel like I would have frowned upon a little while ago, which is a little bit ridiculous to say, but I'm being honest. So yeah, I would have frowned upon it just because I always had a strange thing about people making their kids look the same. It just, something about it seemed wrong to me. But our girls adore sometimes dressing the same, wearing the same dress, wearing the same tights, maybe wearing their hair the same sometimes, or wearing the same shoes, or so on and so forth. You get the idea. And they really love it. Something about it, you can see that it really like bonds them in a way. Even though it is such a materialistic, just easy thing, they get such a kick out of looking the same and just find excitement in it. And so I have no problem with it, clearly. You know, if they have no problem, I have no problem. It is not hurting anyone. And so I thought, I want to make them a pair of a really special leg warmers. So I was having a conversation with Elodie about what her dream pair of leg warmers would look like. Of course, not saying that I wanted to knit her a pair. And she said that it would be out of Stellina yarn, and it would have speckles of pinks and purples in the Stellina yarn. And so I had planned on dyeing up that Stellina yarn, and she said that as well, around the center of the leg warmer, it would have just a red Stellina yarn strand of color work where there were hearts. And I thought, this sounds perfect. My Grandma Sue knit so many things with hearts on them. I have designed a few patterns with hearts on them, and I would love to do this. So like I said, I planned on dyeing up some yarn, but I had quite a large cake left over from my pinguono, which is what I have on today, of sugared sweeties in my little box of all of my cakes left over from my pinguono. And so I thought, this has pink, this has purple, but it also has greens and blues. I think she will still love them. And so I dyed up quite a few tonals with just different shades of reds. And yeah, I snagged one for myself. I put the others with all of my little stash, and I came up with this. So the first one is finished. I'm very, very happy with the way that these turned out. I think I will try this on Elodie while she's asleep, because she sleeps hard and well. So I think I'll try this on her while she's asleep and see how good it fits. If it fits her really well, these will be hers. And if she needs something quite a bit looser, I will add one more of these hearts to the leg warmer. So yeah, I'm really, really happy with this. The first one is done, as you can see. I have not soaked it or blocked it, which I will definitely do because I think color work just transforms magically when you block it. And it's really funny. I was having a conversation with Robert, my husband, about this the other day. My grandma does not block anything. And my grandma, she maybe steams stuff from time to time, but really not. I mean, that's probably 1 in 100 things, if that. And her color work always looks, even if it's, I'm not just talking necessarily about something like this with, you know, just a row of hearts or a row of something. If she were to be doing a fancy sweater, or we have these beautiful stockings, which I shared with you last year in Vlogmas, and I'll probably share with you again, that she's knit, that are full on color work, and they've never been blocked, and they just look amazing. Her color work, I think because she's knit so much and it was something that she always did, she wouldn't really knit something if it didn't include color work, no matter what it was. Socks, baby socks, hats, mittens, whether it was an entire mitten, an entire sock, there always generally is some sort of color work, even if it's just around the brim or the cuff. So I don't know how she does that. I get it. I guess it's just from years and years of color work knitting. So I am on to the second one. So I will be knitting 4 of these. It might even be that I'm knitting all 4 the same size if they fit them both quite well. Like I said, the pink pair they can both wear. So, and this is how far I am on this one. So I am about, a quarter of the way finished with it, a 5th of the way. And these are so much fun to knit. I'm really, really enjoying it. I'm knitting it out of Knit Pro Zings on 2.5 millimeter needles. If you remember, I do knit my socks generally on a 2 millimeter needle. However, with something like a leg warmer, something that does not, get a lot of friction, I like it to be a little bit more drapey. A leg warmer, it's fine if it scrunches up on itself. It doesn't need to be tight and form-fitting at all. If anything, I don't want them to be tight and form-fitting. So on this sock or leg warmer, I have again my super sweet Christmas tree progress keeper from Simply Serving. I love her shop. She has come out with some new holiday cookie plates, and they are adorable. I think she came out with a new holiday drink. Her Fair Isle sweaters, the ones with the sweet little applique on them, are wonderful as well. So here's my yarn inside of there. I have over here the Sugared Sweeties, and then over here just the red tonals that I made for the hearts. And I love it. If I were to knit this again, I think I would do the cast on in the first row of each of the leg warmers in the red. I think that would have added just a really great touch to these leg warmers. I do have more knitting plans for the girls, as a side note. So hopefully the next time that we chat, I have these finished and the new things cast on. I don't know if you can hear, but Søren Norensen, one of our cats, is being quite vocal. I have been continuing to knit on my Mermaid of the Black Lake socks, which I have in my Maker's Haven bag. This is my themed project, which I've already spoken about. So I am knitting this out of a Homespun House yarns again, and this is the Mermaid of the Black Lake colorway and pop art. So I have finished the first one. no ends have been woven in anywhere in this sock. And I did something very, very different with the toe. So you can see this is quite flat looking at the top. Generally I have been changing my toes quite a lot and experimenting with them quite a lot over the last couple of months and last pairs of socks that I've knit. I used to do just a complete rounded toe where I would decrease until I got to 8 stitches and then thread it through the needle. Then I went ahead and tried where I would do 5 stitches on the top, 5 stitches on the bottom, so 10 total, Kitchener it shut. Then I did 6 and 6, so 12. I'm counting. And then I think I did 10 and 10. I think I jumped up quite a bit. And this time I have done 16 by 16. And this fit for my foot is perfect. Sometimes I just get like that little flap at the top of my toes where there's just a little bit of excess fabric. And this is the first time that I don't have that. So it's a little strange if you try to like piece it together. You get, this little lump here. It doesn't look very pretty when it's not on your foot. But man, it fits wonderfully. And the reason why this is so long in the pop art is because I did go ahead and measure my weigh my yarn. And I did not have enough to knit up to the decreases. So this is how, I hope that I measured correctly. I'm quite sure. It was a bit difficult to measure with the needles on my yarn. So I did as best as I could. I didn't want to take the needles out. I know that that would be an easy fix to just plop those back on, but I didn't feel like taking the time. And if there are 5 rows of a difference with pop art, it probably will bother me a little bit, but not too much. And I think I did a pretty good job of weighing. So like I said, the first one is finished. This is a 30 row cuff, knit one, purl one. It is not twisted. I think I had someone ask that on my Instagram. I cannot do twisted knitting. I do not mind twisting my knit stitches, but I do not enjoy at all purling a twisted stitch at all. It's something that I cannot see myself doing. I enjoy the look of it, but it's not that important to me that I need to do a twisted knit one, purl one. Anything. So the first one is finished, and I am now knitting the second one. This is my nap time knitting, and I brought this to bed last night while I was bringing Elodie and Ruby to bed. And I think I was probably about here, and I thought, oh no, something always goes wrong when I'm knitting rib, knit one, purl one. And because it's dark in there, I cannot see my knitting, like I have explained before. And so if you're knitting, which I am, and thinking about something, it could be, and this happens very often, that I kind of stop knitting without realizing it, having a thought, and then I realize, oh no, I'm in the middle of a needle, and I don't know if I purled last or knit last. So then I generally will feel with my thumb and think to myself, okay, purl one, knit one, purl one, knit one, purl one, knit one, purl one, knit one, because I always end each needle with a purl one. So I'll generally start at the end with a purl and feel up to where I am. Usually I have very good luck with this. However, last night I did not. I had no idea that I had bad luck with it. I probably had this happen 3 times last night where I had to go back and count. So I took it out this morning to do a little bit of knitting on the cuff. And like I said, I think I was about here. Probably I had a third of what I have now. And I had knit and purled wrong and completely changed up the sequence. And I think I knit about to where I am right now. So, of course, that I definitely ripped back and reknit. So now I have finished the cuff, and I do have quite a bit of knitting on the leg for this, so that's nice. I mentioned earlier that I work on my sewing every other night, and that's because Robert and I take turns bringing the girls to bed. They both sleep in the same room, so it's very easy for one parent to sit in between both of the girls. And I know I've mentioned this before, but I do like to mention some of the same things every now and again, because I know that there are new viewers watching, or people who watch who don't necessarily watch every single episode. So Robert or myself sit in between the girls until they fall asleep, and so it's easy for one person to bring the girls to bed. And right now I'm working on my sewing project while Robert does that until he comes out, and then we spend our time together. So that sock is finished. I do not think I knit any on Robert's second socks. I haven't, so I won't show those to you. I do want to show you my Christmas socks that I will be knitting, just because I have not started knitting on these yet, but these, I think I will probably cast them on Friday, December 1st. Generally, I would like to have a pair of Christmas socks. I guess last year I was working on my Christmas socks during Vlogmas. I wanted to have them to wear for Christmas. And I do have a pair of Christmas socks, my gingerbread house socks from the Cozy Knitter, which I'm actually wearing right now, and I adore them. I was wearing them sometime last week over a pair of tights, and my feet were freezing, and I just thought, what's wrong with these socks? And then I thought, of course, you have to have wool next to your skin. If you have a layer in between that isn't a natural layer, and my socks were by no means 100% cotton or 100% wool. I think they were probably 95% a non-natural product. So yeah, I took off my tights, put my socks on, and they kept my feet cozy and warm. So that was my mistake. So yeah, I do have those socks, but I will be knitting up my Christmas at Hogwarts socks, and I will be knitting these up in a Homespun house, 80-20, 80% superwash BFL and 20% nylon. And like I said last time, I haven't knit out of this base, so I am very excited. And I have seen so many people knitting up this yarn. I'm in love. It looks so stunning. It's always great when you're a hand dyer and you just see your yarn out in the wild and you love what people are creating with it, and you love the way that you created it and the way that it looks. So it's always awesome seeing your photographs on Instagram, tagging me and things that you've knit. I have been getting quite a lot of people who weren't able to sign up for the Harry Potter Yarn and Charm Club that I have for January, February, March with Simply Serving. Oh, I want to show you. What will be accompanying this Christmas knit will be a Simply Serving Progress Keeper in her Butterbeer charm. It is fantastic. And the reason why I chose this charm is because it's just such a nice, warm, cozy drink that I know Harry, Ron, and Hermione and everyone else drank all of the time, but I can definitely see it being just a cozy, nice thing to drink in the evenings, or obviously out at Hogsmeade with their friends. So I wanted to add that one. But I've had a lot of people who have been not so happy that they haven't been able to join that and that it's all sold out. So I have put up listings for the Harry Potter Yarn Club for January, February, March, and you will just be getting the skeins of yarn that everybody else will be getting. You just won't be getting a Simply Serving charm. The reason for that is Lindsay only makes, as many as she can for the club, which is already quite a hefty amount. And, she's trying her best to create all of those, and she does a fantastic job. So I did want to make the yarn at least available to those of you who want to get your hands on some Harry Potter yarn. That does, of course, make the club at more of an affordable price for those of you who just want yarn anyway. So that is up in the shop, and yeah, I'm happy to put that up for you guys and dye yarn for those Harry Potter clubs. I think those are all of the Harry Potter themed projects that I'm working on, although I do have some Harry Potter yarn to show you in just a little bit. The next thing that I have been working on has been very, very fun. It's something that I've really been enjoying knitting on. Ellie from Skein-Deer, who has been designing so many beautiful mittens as of late, came out with her holiday mitt knit. I'm trying to look for the name of this, what she's calling this. Sometimes designers have it at the bottom of all of their pages, but this one doesn't. So anyway, it's her mystery winter mitten knit along. And so for those of you who do not want to look, please, I guess I will put a timestamp. So please pause right now, and then you can click on the timestamp under the video for when you want to, for when I finish talking about this. Okay, so pause now. I love this pattern. I am knitting it out of Ovis Etc. yarns, and I unfortunately do not have a tag for these yarns, so I have no idea what the colorways are. I don't even know what the blend of this yarn is, but it's really nice. It's extremely woolly. It's a fingering weight yarn. I went ahead and decided to use 3mm needles for my knitting. I think she recommended between a 2.5 and a 3mm needle. So the only one thing that I changed about this pattern is for the cuff. She asked you to do a Latvian braid, and I decided to do a very, very simple knit one, purl one. With each round, I think I did 4 rounds in one of the colorways. So this gray and then this beautiful heathered pink, very, very heathered pink color. And at the bottom, she has these really pretty snowflakes. And this was the first clue up to the Latvian braid, and I did do that one there. I don't know if I knit this again, if I would do the Latvian braid at the bottom. I'll have to see how these fit. I could see knitting this pattern again. I already have yarn for another one. I did a poll on Instagram asking which yarns I should use for this. This one won by far. I think it was like an 80 to 20 vote. It was either this yarn or a medium blue and a light blue in some Bijou Basin yak, which I think I will make another pair of mittens out of that. I'll have to see if the contrast is enough though. So there is this snowflake pattern, and then here on the front you have the cat and the dog, which it's a little bit difficult to see. That is one time when blocking will do wonders. So I have the first 2 clues finished. I think the clues come out every 5 days, so the next one I believe will come out tomorrow. I feel a little bit strange about just having one mitt knit. I'm not really sure how to go about knitting the second mitten. I suppose I could start knitting from the outside of the cake. I should have theoretically put the skeins in half, caked the skeins in half when I was winding them up, but I didn't do that. I was not thinking ahead when I decided to do that. So I've really only had enough time to knit on the one mitten anyway. I don't think that I would knit them concurrently just because I have so many different projects that I'm working on, and I have the gifts for the girls that I'm knitting and sewing that take a lot of my time and dedication. So I hope that once I finish this mitten that I will knit the second one. It would be such a pity if I just knit one. It makes it so easy to knit on when you have those little clues. And I love the 5 days because it's not that large of a clue. It's not that large of a piece, that the 5 days in between rather than the 7 days, if I'm correct about that, is perfect. I am now ready to knit on the next clue, and I'm so curious to see what it's going to be. So I'm really enjoying these. I cannot wait to see how this mitt looks when it's finished and when it's blocked, because with this much pattern going on, I know that it will come to life and it won't look so bumpy. And I used to knit quite a lot of color work. I would say probably 8 years ago, I knit almost always color work. I was always knitting color work into things, just probably from inspiration by my grandma. Was how I was knitting for quite some time. And now that I'm not around her as much, I'm a lot more inspired by other podcasters and a lot more other people in the knitting community through Instagram, social media platforms. So now that color work is really getting big again, I am very excited about it, because I haven't worked on my color work skill in so long. And it is fun. It definitely, it definitely takes a lot of concentration, because for this piece especially, it is changing every single row. So it's not a potato chip. Although it is, you definitely want to do the next row and the next row and the next row, but it's not a mindless knit. Color work can definitely be mindless, especially if it's like a 5 pattern repeat throughout an entire mitten or an entire hat. But this one is definitely a one more row, one more row, one more row sort of knit. I'm definitely enjoying it. And if I didn't have so many things to be working on right now, I definitely would have cast on that second mitten and knit them concurrently, for sure. So, yes. I think it would be really fun next year to knit a pair of colorwork mittens that are red and green. Extremely Christmas, and the only problem would be is you would have to do a very, very different toned red and green so that the colors really stood out. But it would be a really fun Christmas knit and a really fun mitten to wear in December. That just sounds heavenly. The next thing that I have been working on is my shawl for my sister Amy. Thank you all so much for all of the kind words that you left me about just the things that I said when I showed you this shawl last episode. It has been very fun to work on. It is a very special knit, as you guys know, and it just has such different feelings when I knit on this. It's a very heavy knit. Heavy not as in the way it feels, but heavy in my soul knit. So this is where I was last time, where the hearts are. And then I have this snowman here from Simply Serving, of course, because this reminds me that from this point on, I have to do 5 more repeats. So this snowman isn't where I left off, the heart is. And so I did quite a bit on this. I mean, this is a large shawl, and I'm about to, let's see how many more repeats I need. I need 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 more repeat. And then I start adding ash again, which is this deep charcoaly grayish black, beautiful color. So I'm using ash and puddle jumper, both a Homespun House colorways. And the ash is cashmere, 20%, 70% merino, and 10% nylon. And the puddle jumper is an 80-20 superwash merino and 20% nylon. So I'm really loving this. This is definitely my go-to knit for when the kids are around, because all of the other times I can't work on the color work because that requires way too much thought. So this is definitely like, just hanging out at the table after breakfast, talking, chatting, playing games, whatever, or watching a movie, or sitting in a chair watching the girls play, because they're always building little forts and playing in them. And I feel like we are putting up forts quite a bit lately, which is fun. It's really, really fun to see and watch them play inside of them. So I am enjoying this. This is the Road Trip Shawl by Kemper Ray. I am sorry I did not mention that. And I enjoy knitting on this shawl because I don't really feel the need to make shawls unless they are gift shawls, because I love all of the shawls that I own. I don't at this moment feel like I'm missing a shawl in this color or I'm missing a shawl in this design. I feel very good about the shawls that I have, about the colors that they are. And yeah, there isn't a shawl that I feel like I'm missing out on. But I do really enjoy knitting on shawls. However, I was knitting on this shawl, the road trip shawl for Amy, and I was talking to her, and because she's very excited about it. And I was saying to her, you know, Amy is very small. She's tall, but she is a small girl. She's quite thin. And she likes to wear quite oversized cardigans most of the time. I don't know if she really wears many, like, finer cardigans. She probably does and probably would. But anyway, so I was talking to her, and I said, you know, I could knit you a featherweight with this yarn because it's 2 skeins. And I knit my featherweight with 2 skeins. So for her, I definitely could. And I think for my featherweight, I knit the 38.75, which actually is smaller because I use smaller needles than it calls for. So it probably ended up being a size 34. Anyway, that's totally beside the point. So I told her that, and I'm sure she was like, oh no. But she didn't say anything. She didn't say that, you know, she was bummed about that. I know she would adore a pullover. A cardigan, I mean. So I think at some point I will knit her with big, chunky yarn, a super cozy cardigan. That would be fantastic to make her next year, because it probably would take as much time as an 800 meter fingering weight shawl. The final thing that I have been working on is housed in my The Fawn and the Fox wool felt project bag with my amazing Simply Serving Harry Potter figurines hanging out with me every time I grab this to knit. Is my featherweight cardigan. How much of this have I knit since we last spoke? I wonder if I've knit any on this since we last spoke. I feel like now that I'm looking at it, I haven't. I have just been so consumed in all of the other things and finishing Amy's shawl that I think this hasn't been picked up, because this has not been a huge priority. I'm knitting a featherweight, which is a cardigan by Hannah Fedig. And yeah, I don't think I've knit anything on it. And I have cardigans. I have 2 featherweights actually that I do wear. And while this is going to be a piece that I wear all the time, it isn't something that I need right now, and it isn't something that absolutely needs to be finished right now. So yeah, I don't think I've worked on that. As soon as Amy's shawl is finished, I think I will pick this up, because those are my 2 larger projects that I have going on right now, and Amy's shawl definitely needs to be finished a lot more than my own cardigan. So I wanted to show you, wait, I forgot to show you this. This is totally off topic, besides the point. This is how much yarn, of all the yarn that I have left from making these 4 socks. So I don't know what I will do with this, but I'm guessing I think it's probably quite a bit. So it would be 3, 6, 9, 12, maybe 12 stripes. Could do something fun with it. Add it to a Cozy Memories blanket. So yes, that is how much yarn I have left, if you even care. I received the most fantastic gift of these 2 skeins of sock yarn. I have been wanting Nomadic Yarns Harry Potter themed sock yarn for quite some time. Lately she hasn't been listing it, and I'm not sure why. I've probably looked often enough in the last 3 to 4 months, and it's not there. It's not there right now. I had a look this morning even. And so I was so happy when I was gifted McGonagall and Dumbledore. They are, so this is in her twisty sock. It's an 80/20 superwash merino and nylon. And these colorways are so fantastic. They are definitely colors that I would wear. I've spoken about self-striping socks before, but I absolutely love this one. McGonagall, you cannot get more amazing than that. Same with Dumbledore. I adore both of these, and I cannot wait to cast these on. I don't know what's going on with me. It's so funny what happens in your mind of what you're interested for knitting, because like I said, not that long ago, I said, I'm not that into stripy sock yarn, although for the girls, it's fun that I can knit stripy socks. I did order 2 skeins of Nicole C. Mendez sock yarn, one in a Christmas colorway, which I want to knit for Elodie and Ruby next year. Yes, I am already planning next year's Christmas socks. I know. I'm kind of wondering why I did not knit them Christmas-themed socks for First Advent. But that's fine. They will love those. They have Christmas-themed pajamas. I'm pointing over here because that is where this stuff is. But the sock yarn that I bought them from Nicole C. Mendez is, I think it's purples, golds, reds, greens, possibly pink. I do not know. But that will be sent out tomorrow. I can't wait to see it. And I also bought the Shrieking Shack Harry Potter colorway. That one is purples, browns, blues, I think, all very, very rich jewel toned colors though. And I'm excited to get that one as well. I think that will probably be a pair for either myself or Robert. But I don't know, I'm excited. It's so strange how the name of a yarn has so much influence on buying yarn. I don't know why that is, but I love, I mean, of course the yarn has to be beautiful as well. I love Harry Potter, but I've seen Harry Potter yarn that I don't like. So the yarn has to be beautiful. The name has to be something that catches me. I already have 2 ideas of yarns for not January, February, March. Those are all completely planned. Harry Potter Yarn and Charm Club. But I already have April and May done. They are going to be awesome. Both the yarn and the charm. I know exactly what they're going to be. You guys are going to freak out. Thank you so much to everyone who purchased the Harry Potter kits. Thank you so much to everyone who purchased the holiday gift box. You guys put all of your faith and trust in me. I want you to open those up before Christmas. Even if you bought it as a Christmas gift for yourself, you will want to be using and looking at these things up until Christmas because they're holiday themed. So I feel like if you opened it on Christmas, you might wonder why or be bummed that you hadn't opened it earlier. So definitely open those as soon as you get them. And I can't wait for you to get them. So it was such a joy talking with you today. I have so many beautiful yarns that I am adding to the shop this week. I have Xenophilius Explains the Deathly Hallows, a brand new colorway that I am very excited to show you. I have not yet named it, but it will be something fantastic. I have Cozy Nights, which is probably my new favorite colorway that I've dyed. There is quite a bit of pop art, Mermaid of the Black Lake, Birthday Cake, which I have not put up in the shop in so long. We have, I think I said Xenophilius Explains the Deathly Hallows, Berlin Sunrise, B-Sides and Rarities, And then a whimsy colorway, which is not named, of course. It is just that, a whimsy colorway. So, oh, and woodland for sure. Pygmy puff, Collins. So there is a lot of yarn. If you're a bird, I'm a bird. That will be going into the shop this week. Like I said, it was so fantastic chatting with you guys today. I am looking forward to Vlogmas. You guys can keep an eye out for that, obviously via YouTube, which is where you're watching now. And yeah, I can't wait to see you guys. Friday evening is when the first one will go live. I'm guessing Friday evening, Friday afternoon. But most days they will all be up in the evenings for those of you who are in Europe, and then the afternoons for those of you over in America. And yeah, I cannot wait. I look forward to seeing you guys every day leading up until Christmas. I do not know how regular the podcasts will be because of Vlogmas, but I guess time will tell. I will see you all soon. Have a fantastic upcoming Advent and holiday time.